Hello and welcome to my show, Indus Cuisine. I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We're back with another new recipe from the heart of Pakistan. Today's recipe is very interesting and it has originated from the city of Lahore. Lahore has been considered to be one of the most loved cities by the Mughal Empire, and that can be proved by the famous buildings and by the famous architecture that current day Lahore holds. If you go to Lahore, Lahore is one of those cities that has the fort, then it has the famous Basim Mosque, and then it has a food street which was built back in the day when the Mughals used to feast over there. This recipe has originated from there and it has taken its name from the famous garden that the Mughal emperors loved, known as the Shalimar Bagh. Bagh means a garden, so we also call it the Shalimar Gardens, and today's recipe's name is MURGH-E-SHALIMAR. Gardens are considered to be green, and this recipe has a green color which will be derived from all the green ingredients we'll be using, such as coriander, mint leaves and spring onions. So today's recipe is very easy. We'll be cooking this recipe in two parts, and this recipe will not be cooked in the typical Pakistani way. It will be cooked in a very different way. Why? Because we'll be making green sauce, and apart from that we'll be using a few other things that will bring out the color of this recipe. So what is the first part of the recipe? The first part of the recipe includes a kilogram of chicken, which is boneless chicken, without the bone. Basically, we shall finely slice it, and once we've sliced it, what we'll do is we'll add it to the main ingredients. But before that, what we need is we need around 2 onions, we need some ginger which we'll shred, then you need some garlic, you need some sesame seeds, around half a cup. This cup is much bigger than the normal size, so I've measured it and I've kept it over here. You need a cup of yogurt, which should be fresh. If you can't find fresh yogurt, what you can do is you can also substitute it with Greek yogurt, and then you need around 2 tablespoons of clarified butter. As you can see, it's winters right now, so clarified butter will usually start coming together and it will look like margarine, or you could say something which is coming very close. Okay, so what you need to do first is you need to take a pan. I'll make this recipe in 2 parts. I'll keep the pan over here, bring it to heat, and once it has come to heat, we shall add the first ingredients. So till the pan comes to heat, what we'll do is we'll take 2 onions and we shall just slice them. All of these ingredients will eventually go into the food processor, but when it shall go to the food processor, I'll let you know. So keep your knives sharp, take the root out and keep it on the side. So we shall finely slice these onions. We will not let them go brown. Why? Because we do not want the texture of the recipe to change. And also the other thing is, when the onion goes brown, the flavor changes and the flavor goes towards the bitter side. Remember that. So just slice these ingredients. You can just roughly slice them. Why? Because we shall add the onions to some water, some clarified butter, we'll boil it, and then we shall add the other ingredients. Now you might be thinking, whenever we're cooking on Indus cuisine, Pakistani cuisine is all about sauteing the onions or making them translucent, but today it's a bit different. How is it different? First, what you'll do is you'll add clarified butter, you'll melt it down, but remember one thing, you will not fry the onions in this too much. So first the clarified butter starts melting. When it's melting, what we'll do is first we'll add the sesame seeds in it, so that the sesame seeds can get a little light brown. We want to fry the sesame seeds but not the onions, remember that. So I'll just add a pinch of salt. Why? Because whenever you add salt, what happens is the ingredient that has any moisture, it will start pulling it out. So as you can see, I'm frying these things. So till the time this is frying, what we'll do is we'll reduce the heat to low. Why? Because we do not want to overcook it. We'll give it a lid and we'll push all these ingredients on the side. What I'll do now is I'll take around 4 pieces of garlic. I'll finely chop these. So I'll just smash them on the board. This is a quicker way, and I'll just pass the knife through. As you can see, when you smash the garlic, it starts getting chopped finely. Why? Because it starts falling apart. If you otherwise slice it, then chop it and then mince it further, it will take much longer. I'll pick this up, I'll transfer it over here. and I'll let this fry also. I want the color of the garlic to go a little light brown before I add the onions, and once I've added the onions, what I'll do is I'll add a little bit of water. Why? Because I want the onions to get really tender, soft and juicy. So till then what we'll do is we'll pick up a piece of ginger. We'll finely shred it. So I want around 1 tablespoon of shredded ginger. If the ginger starts slipping, always change the side. Why? Because you want the proper grip, remember that. And this is how you'll slowly and gradually go about it. The end part of the ginger should be left away. Why? Because these are all the strands, and also why? Because this will not disintegrate or cook down to perfection. Now you can see that there is some water on the board. This is all the water that has come out of the garlic. I'll try sourcing it by just transferring it to the knife. Why? Because this has all the flavor. So let it drip in. Now move it and just fry it like this. So once this is done, as you can see, the garlic is a little light brown. I'll just toss in the onions to bring the temperature down of the pan. Why? Because when you add something cold or when you add something which is of room temperature, all the ingredients in the pan also start coming down in terms of the level of heat in the pan. Why? Because it's Mother Nature. Whenever something cold hits the pan, it always comes down. Okay, increase the heat. Mix it up. Add another pinch of salt so that the onions lose out their moisture. Mix it up. Take a spatula and just press it down. As you can see, the onions are translucent now. What we'll do is, now we'll add some water to it. When I say water, it doesn't mean a lot of water. We'll just add around half a cup of water. Mix it up and let it come to boil. So as you can see, we do not add water to the onion. We let it brown and then we add the other ingredients. For this, we need to make a white paste. Once the white paste is done, what we'll do is we'll make a green paste. So reduce the heat. And you might be thinking, when will the chicken go in? The chicken shall go in on the latter stage. Why? Because the chicken will be slowly cooked like stew, not fried. Remember that. Okay, so the yogurt is over here. I'll just clean the board and I'll bring another one over here. So we keep this one over here and we bring a red board. Red board goes here. And now what do you need? You need to chop or slice, basically slice the chicken. So what I'll do is I'll pick this chicken and I'll keep it over here. So I've taken 2 big fillets of the chicken and we shall cut it from between. So cut it. And remember, I'll show you one more thing, that the chicken has a very tender part, which is also known as the undercut. It's this part. So I'll just slice it and you can see the texture is completely different compared to the whole chicken. So you can even pull it out like this. Just put your thumb in, start pulling it. You can see it's naturally connected over here and just take it out. So these are like small fillets. If people like something really tender, you could just take this, and it's actually on the butcher. Many a times what happens is the butchers, they take this out and they sell it separately. So what I'll do is I'll keep it on the side and we can use it later for some other recipe, not for this. Okay, for the chicken, what you need is you need to make these long pieces. And remember, whenever you're cooking with boneless chicken or other forms of chicken also, you need the chicken to be at room temperature. Once the chicken is at room temperature, then only you shall cut it. Okay, so I will slice it, but not very thin. I'll put my knife on the side like this and I'll just make cuts. So I have a piece of chicken which is almost half an inch thick and almost an inch long. This will automatically shrink further. If you cut it smaller than this, so the texture of the recipe will change, and that's what we don't want. So just slowly and gradually go like this. Always tilt your knife for this. If you keep your knife straight, the texture and the shape and the size of the chicken will also change, remember that. Just keep a slanting angle and start cutting it. Remember, I made this recipe in which I showed you how to make Burmese khawswe. For that, I did the same technique. I tilted the knife and I gave the chicken cuts, but those pieces were really thin. Why? Because we were having those with spaghetti. This is a recipe which you will eat with rice, or if you want, with naan bread. Okay, this is done. Now what I'll do is I'll just rinse my hands and I shall take all of these ingredients and convert it into a paste. So as you can see, the chicken is done. I've made pieces of the chicken. Remember, in length they are 1 inch long, and in the width, which means the thickness, it's only ½ inch thick. So I've kept the chicken over here in front of you. Now what we'll do is we'll shift our attention towards the onion, the sesame seeds and the clarified butter we added with some water, and we let it boil just a bit. This is done. As you can see, it's nice, the texture is very thick, and you can see this translucent watery paste over here. Now we'll convert this. First, what we'll do is we'll transfer all of these ingredients to the jug. But remember one thing, whenever you're going to put something very hot in the jug, you need to add something cold. If you do not have something cold to add into the recipe, then what you'll do is you'll always let it rest. You'll take it off the heat, keep it on the side for 20 minutes. When it comes to room temperature, then you shall start mixing it. For this recipe, we have 2 things that we shall add into this, which will bring down the temperature. The first thing is yogurt. The other thing is milk over here. So the milk won't be added completely. We'll just add around 4 to 5 tablespoons, and the rest will be added towards the end of the recipe. So what I'll do first is I'll shift all of this into a glass bowl. Why? Because you need to be very careful whenever it comes to being safe. Don't just take your pan and pull it over there. So pick this up and transfer all these ingredients into a bowl which is heat resistant. Do not add it to something that will crack. Remember that. Okay, I'll keep it over here on the side, and now I'll pick this up and I'll transfer it into the food processor. This goes over here. We'll add some room temperature yogurt. It's actually not room temperature, it's a bit colder than that. Why? Because Islamabad today is around 8 degrees Celsius. So this is comparatively colder than compared to the yogurt you have in the summers. So add some cold yogurt. Place a lid and process it properly. So as you can see, we are done with the paste. I'll just pick it up, bring it over here and transfer it into a fresh bowl. So now you might be thinking, why is he using a fresh bowl? The fresh bowl will be used, why? Because the other bowl had a bit of sesame seeds and a bit of onion strands in it, and I do not want that. I want that fine paste-like texture to be used in the food. So I'll transfer it into a fresh bowl. And I'll keep it on the side. Now these are the things that are ready. This was the first part. Now the second part of the recipe will be the green sauce. How will the green sauce be made? I'll let you know, but before that I'll give you a quick rundown before I go for the break. Why? Because the green sauce has a lot of ingredients. We need 1 cup of clarified butter, 2 bay leaves. You need around 1 tablespoon of shredded garlic and 1 tablespoon of shredded ginger. Then you need black cardamom, 1 piece. You need around 3 to 4 green chilies. I'm using this jalapeno ones. You can use these. If you have the smaller ones, you can use 6 pieces of those. They are pretty hot. The bigger the green chili, the less spice level that will have. If the green chili is smaller, it will be more packed with the spice. Okay, then you need some cinnamon sticks. You need salt to taste. Then you need around 2 capsicums. You need around 1 cup of mint leaves. You need half a cup of coriander leaves, and then you need some spring onions. Okay, we'll go for a short break. Once we're back, I'll let you know what to do, how to cut it and how to go about it. Don't go anywhere, keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine. I'm your chef Basim Akhund. We just took a break and I just cleaned up. Why? Because remember, you need to keep your station very clean. If you do not keep your station clean, you will mess up somewhere. Why? Because when you have a lot of ingredients, you need to streamline whatever you're going to add next. Okay, so I'll let these two things be over here, or actually I'll pick up the chicken, I'll keep it in the fridge, and then I'll come back. Why? Because you need to keep cross-contamination away. Okay, this is done. Now what you need is you need to prepare for the other ingredients. So first what I'll do is I'll use the same small pan. I'll bring it to heat, and once it has come to heat, I'll add a few things in it. But before that, what we need is we need to prepare some ingredients. So I'll pick up the shredder. It's over here. First of all, I'll just shred the garlic and ginger. You need to remember, for this you need to have around a tablespoon of each. When this is done, we'll add another ingredient in this. Why? Because I want to bring out the flavor of the greens or the herbs we're also using. And the two herbs we're using, the fresh herbs, are mint and coriander leaves. If you can't find coriander or mint, you can still go around with this recipe without it. But remember, the recipe's flavor will get a bit compromised, but the recipe won't go south. Okay, so this is done. I'll just pick up the end parts of the garlic. I'll throw it in the dustbin, and I shall now start off with the ginger. So I'll just mix it up together. It's all right, it's fine. Shred it slowly and gradually. Turn it around. And this is done. Whatever you don't need, shift it on the side, keep it at the back, shake it up, always pull it, because you'll always see a bit of ginger or garlic stuck somewhere inside. Okay, this is done. Now what you need is you need to just take 1 tablespoon of clarified butter, not too much. I have this. I'll just transfer a tablespoon. I'll reduce the heat to low or the pilot, and I'll just let it melt. Move it around. And now add all of this over here. This goes here. I'll tilt the pan a bit because I want to deep fry it. And I'll add a pinch of salt in it. So move it and start frying it. The ginger and garlic is pretty strong. It kind of hit the right spot in my eye. And now what you need is you need to add the bay leaves. The bay leaves go in. Push it down a bit on the oil so that it gets like this light frying sensation. And now you'll take the green chilies. What I'll do is I'll just take off the stems and I'll throw them on the side. When this is done, just cut the green chilies from the center and transfer this over here. Shake it up, mix it, and just add around a 1/4 cup of water. I'm adding a 1/4 cup of water. Why? Because I want the green chilies to soften up a bit. So I'll give it a lid and I'll let it cook in its own steam. So till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll get up with all the other ingredients and we'll finish them up. Okay, so now we need the capsicum. So whenever you're using a capsicum, remember one thing. With the capsicum, you do not use the seeds that come in between. Why? Because those seeds are not spicy. Those seeds are very bitter. So if you add the seeds to the recipe, what will happen is your recipe will get completely ruined. So when that happens, the recipe suffers and it actually goes to waste. And when I say waste, you cannot save it. So what I'll do is, I'll just show you again. These are the seeds. I'll keep it on the side. Just take the outer part, cut it like this, keep slicing it, and then the bottom part of the capsicum also is used. So I'll just throw away the seeds. You do not need these, and keep it on the side, and I'll just slice it roughly. We need to bring this to heat, so we'll increase the heat over here to full, and when it comes to boil, I'll reduce it to medium low. So this recipe has a few ingredients, but you need to go step by step with it. This is done. As you can see, the water here has come to boil. What I'll do is I'll add the capsicum. and I'll give it a chance to soften up also. So now if you take the lid off, what will happen is the water is less over here. When the water is less, it will dry off if you do not add the lid. So what I'll do is, now when it has come to boil, I'll reduce the heat to medium, give it a lid, and let it cook for around 40 seconds to a minute. I'll just pick whatever is on the board, throw it in the bin, and now come back with all the other ingredients. First we need some spring onions. I'll just fold it like this, and we shall just chop it. They bounce like a spring, so don't go too fast, otherwise they'll be all over the place. We just want to roughly chop it, remember that. Why? Because we shall add all of this to the food processor. So I'm just roughly chopping it, and now all of this shall go over here. We're steaming it. We're steaming it step by step. Why? Because we want the flavors to slowly and gradually amalgamate together. If you add all of it together like one pot cooking, the recipe won't give you that desired result you would require. Pick it up and keep it here. Now I'll add around a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and I'll mix it up. Give it a lid and give it around 30 seconds. Now we need a bit of coriander. What I'll do with the coriander is I shall just once and twice, I'll just pick it up, add it to the mixer over here. Why? Because it's cold. It will help bringing down the temperature of all the ingredients that are placed in the pan. So I try making it as simple as possible for you, because the simpler it is, the easier it is for you to cook, remember that. Now we need some mint leaves. The mint leaves are here. I've taken out the stems mostly, so I'll put it over here also, push it down just a bit, and now what I'll do is the first thing, I'll add a little bit of water. Let's say around half a cup. Half a cup of water goes in. And now these greens over here will be transferred into that. But remember, always transfer it to a bowl and then it goes over there. So I'll pick up a bowl, I'll keep it here, and I'll shift everything into this big bowl. You want the bay leaves to go in also, remember, because you need that flavor. Now transfer all of this goodness into the food processor. I'll keep it on the side, give it a lid, and process this until you get a fine green paste-like texture. So as you can see, the paste is ready. The green paste is here and the white paste is there. Now what you need to do. First of all, for this recipe, you'll require a wok. So I'll keep the wok here, I'll bring it up to heat, and then firstly, I shall add the clarified butter. When the clarified butter will start melting, what we'll do is we'll add these two ingredients first. First, I'll add the cinnamon, then I'll add the black cardamom. Okay, this is done. The chicken is in the fridge, I'll bring it out, and I shall keep it over here. Now transfer all the clarified butter into the wok, but remember one thing, you will not mix the ingredients. You want it to fry a bit, and how that shall be done, I'll show it to you. Just scoop the clarified butter out first and let it melt. Okay. So now I'll just move it around. And let it melt. So when you want to fry this, you always have to remember, you have to take all the greens out into another fresh bowl, which comes over here. Take the lid off and transfer it. This is done. Keep it on the side. Okay. it has come to boil. So now what you'll do is you'll pick up a ladle and slowly and gradually add it. Why? Because I'm frying it. Do not mix it, keep the heat high. And this is done. Keep it on the side over here. You don't need the bowl, this goes at the back. Now pick up a spoon and now mix it up. So slowly and gradually I'm mixing it. And right now is the time when I shall add the chicken into it. The chicken goes in. Keep this on the side and start breaking it. Why? Because when it goes into the fridge, it comes together, it starts sticking. You don't want it to stick. Move it. Reduce the heat. And now add all the white paste you made in the beginning. So this goes in. Keep it on the side and mix it up again. And as you can see, the color is going towards the light greener side. Pick up the cinnamon sticks, pick up the cardamom, the black cardamom, it goes in. And now it's time for the milk. So the remaining milk shall go in. And now bring it to boil. So the salt we've added till now is not more than 3/4 of a teaspoon. Why? Because we added around 3 to 4 pinches of salt and then we added around a 1/4 teaspoon of salt before that. So now what I'll do is I shall add the salt. Why? Because I want to balance the flavor, and right now I'll add 1/2 teaspoon. This is what I like. If you like salt a bit less, or you can do that also. If you like salt to be a bit more, you can add that much also. So now what we'll do is we'll just give it a lid and we'll let it cook for at least 15 minutes when it comes to boil on really low heat. Till the time this is cooking, what we'll do is we'll get ready for preparing the dish out process, and then I'll show you the final look. So as you can see, today's recipe is ready. It was very easy. I've just taken out a single serving. In this recipe, around 5 people can easily eat. I just added a bit of yogurt on top, some finely chopped coriander, and I just sliced some green chili and I kept it over here because if you would like some extra punch towards the spice level, you can just take a bite on that. That's what Pakistanis do. I hope you liked today's episode. I'll see you in another episode of Indus Cuisine. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.